All right. Hey, welcome to Talk the Talk JR. I have an outstanding Escambia County citizen here with me today. His name's Aaron Swauger, a.k.a. The Hitman.
The Hitman.
The Hitman. Go ahead if you want to introduce or say something small about yourself.
I am Aaron, local sports card shop owner.
Okay. Well, that's it. That's done.
Yeah. Short and sweet.
Well, I'll tell you what. I figured it was about time to have someone on that was a sports card or collector enthusiast because I have pretty much decorated my entire little space here that way.
Very nicely.
So we're gonna go ahead and get into that and get what led you to get into a collectibles hobby to try to sustain lifestyle and a life out of.
Yes.
So, all right. Hey, so where are you from originally?
Grew up military, so we moved around quite a bit as a child. I was born in Hampton, Virginia. Lived in Illinois, Virginia, and here.
Illinois, Virginia, and here. Okay.
Yeah, lived in Virginia twice and here twice. Landed here upon retirement. Not my retirement.
Yeah, your dad.
Yes.
Was your dad in the Navy?
Navy, correct.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yep. Dad was Navy, granddad was Army.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate your family for their service. So, did you you went to school in every location you lived in?
Yes. Yep. Started on the west side of Pensacola here as a kindergarten, I guess I would say. And then we moved around, landed back here about halfway through my 5th grade year, still on the west side of town, went to Sherwood Elementary. We applied for me to go to Brown Barge, which was a magnet school at the time. Took 2 years to get through the process for that, and I went to Bellevue Middle in the meantime.
Okay.
And finally, right after 8th grade started, Brown Barge called and had a spot for me. So I converted to Brown Barge. After that, went to Pine Forest for all 4 years of high school and graduated from there.
Okay. So, when I don't know, I always ask this, and is there any I fell skateboarding or rode bikes with the neighborhood kids, any kind of things that stick out when you were in Bellevue or Pine Forest?
Nothing on the positive end. It's always the negative stuff that sticks, right? But
sure.
Yeah, other than playing ball in the schoolyards and hanging out with friends and stuff like that. It was the mid-90s, so it was a different time. We didn't have cell phones. A lot of playing the early video game systems and being outside drinking from the hose, that type of stuff. Yeah.
Okay. So I always ask this as well. High school jobs or anything that kept you occupied outside of the ball yard or early game systems?
Yeah, the most of the focus was on grades. I didn't actually start working until 2 months before I graduated, and I put in a lot of applications. And the first one to call was actually Winn-Dixie. Almost no longer with us anymore.
Yeah,
but
that's why I look that way. I'm not gonna lie. I am gonna interrupt because I'm gonna say this. In the can, aka cantonment,
okay.
Winn-Dixie just went away to make way for an Aldi.
Yep.
I used to go in there and I knew them.
Yeah.
It was kind of personal, and they would ask how I was doing. My daughter, when we first moved here, started working there.
Yeah.
I just hope Aldi's the corporation, when they come in, I know Winn-Dixie was too.
Yeah.
They take that same neighborhood approach because that's.
Yeah. Well, it helped.
Anyway.
It helped that you're from the can, because
I live in Molino, but yeah.
Well, yeah. But that area is very, very homegrown and very
Sure.
friendly as far as that goes. So. Yes, I actually knew the store manager was my store manager when I worked there at the point of them closing. So, yeah, very, very friendly.
Sorry, go back. I'm sorry. You put an application. Yeah.
Yeah. So, Winn-Dixie was the first to call, and I took it. I was a bagger for about 2 months, and then I graduated and went to the store manager. I was like, hey, could use some more hours. He's like, come back and talk to me tomorrow. You know, typical management stuff. So, so I went back the next day, and he's like, look, I've got this, and this, and you can't do this or this. So I narrowed it down to either maybe like the overnight stock crew or the meat department. And I decided on working in the daytime because I wasn't sure how my social life would be working all night and sleeping all day. And still, you know, very young, 18, like, wasn't sure where I was going to end up, so I didn't want to take any chances, and went straight into the meat department. So,
Okay.
And at that point, I was 18, so you can go right into cutting meat and crushing boxes and all that fun stuff. So.
Okay. So, and that was around 90s, 80s,
Circa 1998.
98. Okay.
Yeah, 1998.
So
You're gonna make me think about things now.
Sorry about that. Now then, I say back then. I mean, you know, that
was totally last century.
Right, 1900s.
Yes,
you were
1900s.
We're getting old. God,
we don't have to talk about who had a recent birthday, okay?
Not yet.
Okay.
So, but then you would actually cut it, right?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I'm saying now, you know, like Sam's Club, you go in and they just take
Yes.
the piece out and they slice it for you. But it was an art still at that point.
Yes, very much so. It had already progressed. A lot of people don't really understand like how that all works, but we didn't have like hanging sides of beef like you see in the movies. It was pretty much parted out in a warehouse somewhere and then shipped to us, and then we just took that side and cut it to where it needed to be. But yes, very much so. You had to be a good one, a good meat cutter or / butcher, which good meat cutters don't like the word butcher, but yes, you got to be real agile with a knife to cut nice even lines. Not everybody can do it, and it is a bit of a gory job. It's not for everybody, and you're on the cold all day in the concrete, so it's a different mindset.
So how long did you end up doing the meat cutter? Well, I mean, do you work your way up to head meat cutter, or is
yes. So at that point, these guys would just hang out in their jobs till it was time to retire. So it was hard to progress, like to move up into management as far as that goes. But they did have like an assistant meat manager position in case the manager was on vacation or something like that. But I just naturally like grasped and picked it up really, really quick. So the manager always left me with tasks anyway, even though I didn't have an official position. So after about 6 months, they had a training program, and I went through all that and graduated from that. They put me right into doing orders and doing stuff like that. And then it took a little while. It took about 6 years of me applying for managers' jobs before I finally got one. I had to turn some down, and then they turned me down quite a bit. But yes, eventually after like 6 years, I made a meat manager's position at Winn-Dixie.
all at the same store, or did you have to move around?
I did have to move initially. We went from Bayou Boulevard here, if you guys are local. That store is no longer there. It's turning into an Aldi's as well, as we speak. And I finally got management at the 9 Mile location, which is already an Aldi's. Yeah, I was there for almost 8 or 9 years as the meat manager. We completely turned that business structure around there. That store was months away from being closed just because it was constantly losing money. Store manager rearranged some stuff, put some good managers in there. We grasped the community and turned the numbers around to like a top 3 store in our district. So
wow.
We had multiple DMs. After about 7 years of being there, he wanted to flip-flop. Publix was coming into town over near my old store, and he decided it was better for the business just because of the performance I was putting out versus who was there to switch us. So a week before Thanksgiving, he comes in and he's like, hey, you're going to go back to your old store, and he's going to take over here. So I had to jump in, and fortunately I'd already worked there for a few years and already knew the neighborhood, so I got to jump right into helping my new customers a week before Thanksgiving. So that was fun. But yes, and I hung out at Winn-Dixie for about 16 years, and then decided to try my luck with a different company. For when you guys may know at this point, it's called Publix.
So 16 years at Winn-Dixie.
Yep. It was a little over 16 with them, and then I jumped over and switched over to Publix with the intent to go back into management. They would not hire anybody full time off the street. I had to immediately do an interview with the DM to even get hired full time off the street. They like to promote within. So
Sure.
she hired me based off of my experience right off the bat at a very high rate of pay, but I was just an associate till I could learn the ins and the outs of how Publix did things. So
How long did you stay with Publix?
almost 9 years. Almost 9 years.
Almost 9. So a little over 16 and almost 9. Let's say 25 years.
Yeah, I estimated to roughly 25. Yes.
Okay. Wow. So, and I'm not saying this to, if you have any bad feelings or whatever, and I definitely don't want to bring this up, but, and now it's just walk in and grab whatever cut they have pre-cut.
Yes.
So,
Well, Publix will still cut some stuff for you
right.
if they have a decent person on hand. If they have a talented person enough to handle that for you. Yes.
And so did you leave the business? I know I'm probably jumping here. I'm just
around.
curious. Yeah, I'm curious about this because we're talking so much about it. It's just, did you leave the meat cutting industry because the call or the demand for special cuts died? Like, I don't want to say died, but slowed down, or it wasn't in demand as much,
Right.
or did you leave for something else?
Long story short, probably a medium-sized story. When I left Winn-Dixie, who had already filed for bankruptcy once and was headed back towards their second, as soon as I jumped into Publix and started, learning their processes and stuff, I could see them kind of doing the same things that Winn-Dixie did, and that scared me because all I'd ever known is meat cutting, and who knew what I was going to do in the future, right? So always thinking about the future, but after I established myself with their processes, they promoted me at one point, but they wanted me to go very far from home, and the money that they offered didn't really make sense. So I turned down the promotion, and that kind of put me on the doo-doo list,
Sure.
so to speak. And it wasn't until we got a new DM that there was a little bit of clearing the air and a little bit of freshness to where I felt like I should try to promote again, or try to get promoted again. It just got to the point where they were expanding, and they just kept jumping around me as far as trying to get promoted. So I was topped out on pay, and just kind of spinning my wheels. I was teaching their managers how to do their jobs, and I wasn't going to make any more money, and I just kept working for people and never got the opportunity to jump out there and make the company more money or go back into management. So I decided to go a different route.
Okay. So I know I definitely we jumped on there. I do want to talk about you stay anchored a little bit, and I know that's not on there, but you stay anchored, and I've met her. Your significant other and your counterpart.
Yes.
I have one too, and they're amazing, and they put up with us, and
Yes.
he puts up with you, and
Very well worded.
yeah. So, and when did you guys meet? Or you've been together since? And
Yeah,
met and,
we've been together since 2008.
okay.
We actually met at Winn-Dixie.
Okay.
Take it for what
She
it's
was
worth.
shopping. You helped her with meat.
She worked
Cut,
there.
you cut. Oh, she
She
worked
wor-
there.
yeah, she
okay.
worked there.
I got you.
Yeah, typical small town stories, and we'll leave it at that.
No,
But,
that's good.
Yeah, but yeah. So we met there, and
love at first sight, or
No, not necessarily. Okay. Not necessarily, but through mutual friends, we got acquainted, and it just sparked from there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it sparked from there. So we've been together since 2008. We're married in 2015, and still going strong.
Yeah. Chickens?
A few.
Well, I say that because I saw you down here at the 4-H Center showing
yeah.
chickens and things. So
yes, our daughter is in is very heavy into the 4-H and forestry and vet programs at work. She wants to be a vet in the future. So we try to show chickens whenever we can. So I don't know. We've got a couple different coops. We've got 10 ducks.
Ducks.
Yes, we got 10 ducks.
Richer egg.
Basically toddlers.
Richer egg.
Yeah, very,
okay.
very, yeah. A little bit bigger, very rich, great for baking. Which my wife is not good at, by the way. She's
going to see this.
That's fine. She's a great chef. Everything she's ever had, except for one meal. One meal, and she knows what I'm talking about. But one meal was not. She's a great, but she cannot bake, and she will tell you if she was here, she'd be, I can't bake. So,
and you guys are pretty involved with and the FFA and the forestry and all. That's at Tate. I don't want to speak out of turn, but
yes.
I don't want to say any of that. But that's Tate, and you guys are pretty involved, and that's amazing because you're still involved in the community.
Right. Yeah.
So, get this train back on the rails. I see this shirt. Can you straighten up for the?
Yeah, sure.
And what does it say? That's what I
can't read it upside down.
I collect baseball cards, and I know things.
And I know things.
Yeah. Well,
I mean, you accumulate knowledge at this young age that we have. So,
that's your age. Hey,
right.
So, leads me to my next question. When the meat cutting, you saw the writing on the wall, so to speak.
Yep.
And you said, "Oh, well, what's the future hold?" I remember as a kid getting some baseball cards and
Of course.
worst to first in the 90s, good old Atlanta Braves. Sad,
Who are doing great right now.
Sad last week, Ted Turner and Bobby Cox
both.
in 1 week.
Yep.
But Ted Turner hired Bobby Cox.
Yep.
But worst to first, you take the cards you didn't know the name of and you tape them to your bicycle, and it sounds like a outrated dirt bike.
That was way before us.
I still did it.
Oh.
Anyway, what got you from? And I'm sure you opened up pack after pack after pack.
Oh yeah.
But what got you from collecting it to what you do now?
to
Because
what
you already
I do
stated
now.
in the beginning. So
Right.
you went from meat cutting to what is it that you do now?
Yeah. So LLC, sports card business. So what got me there? So I started collecting, as most do as a kid. I was always interested in money, probably because we didn't really have a bunch. Moving around military, and there was 3 of us in the house, so money was slim. So numbers have always interested me. Money has always been been a thing. So I started collecting in '88. It was probably 1988. I don't really remember the first pack that I opened or anything like that. I remember my first favorite baseball player was Eric Davis.
Okay.
They were in the, I think, 1990 World Series. He was kind of the first one that grasped me. He was fast, skinny outfielder, and I always played outfield. I was thinner back in the day, so so Eric Davis was the first to kind of grasp my attention.
Okay.
And then as I collected, I switched over to kind of the more goofy character and a power hitter, Cecil Fielder, who Cincinnati and Detroit was nowhere near, Pensacola, Florida, where we are. But and then some guys that you guys may know, Ken Griffey Jr. and Frank Thomas and Nolan Ryan, and those guys all kind of hit my radar. And Cal Ripken Jr. is my all-time favorite, but kind of forgot about the other guys and went straight hard on those 4. So those are my 4 faves, always have been.
Run those down again. It's Cal Ripken at the top.
Cal Ripken at the top.
This is your Mount Rushmore.
Yes.
Of baseball.
Yes.
Cal Ripken.
Griffey. Griffey Jr.
Ken Griffey Jr.
Yep. Frank Thomas, who went to Auburn, so it's kind of local. And then Nolan Ryan.
Those are
Just
that's
a
your
power
top four.
pitcher. Top four, yes. Yep, absolutely. Top four. And I think I still have every card that I've ever gathered for either one of them, which is a lot. Yeah, I know, I saw it. The bloody frame.
That's a drawing,
Yeah.
not a picture.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah, that's
ahead.
very well done. But yeah, so I always collected, and as everybody does, as you move through life, the money situations may change, and you focus more on kids or what have you. I'm kind of in and out, in and out, in and out. Later in the years, I became never really was a NASCAR fan through the Dale Senior, Dale Junior era, or
Sure.
Jeff Gordon or any of that, but. My first introduction to racing was an invite to camp at Talladega. And that was from the first 5 minutes of being there. It just grasped me. And I was like, oh. Because it wasn't just about the cars going around, because I've never been a car person. I don't work on cars. I'll let somebody else can handle that. But from that moment, I kind of became a NASCAR fan.
So it's everything surrounding NASCAR, not actually NASCAR.
Yes, yeah. It was the atmosphere that grasped me first.
Right. First.
Yeah. Trying to meet your local communities and such. Once you get around people that share that same, and it wasn't, all the negativity for the world was just out the door. It was just a completely different world immediately, and it just took me by storm. So I became a NASCAR fan, and in between baseball and NASCAR, I mean, literally through the 90s, it was that big explosion of everything collectible. I had my hands on everything. Baseball, football, basketball, comics, Pogs, coins, die-cast, Beanie Babies. We did the Beanie Baby Crush. Pogs, yes. Yes, Pogs. So, just like most of us that collected anything back then, we all got suckered into that boom. And I hung on to everything. I mean, growing up, not having much, when you get it, you just kind of hang on to everything.
So I will interrupt again. I will say this. I say back then, but in the 1900s, the late 1900s.
Yes.
I want to remind everyone that's watching, military pay was not what it is now. Great strides were made through people that advocated to bring the pay as much equal with pay and benefits to civilian counterparts. So back then, the pay did not as much equal that, and I wanted to make sure I put that caveat in there.
Gotcha.
But
Go
ahead.
Fair enough. So when NASCAR took over, and I kind of switched from Winn-Dixie to Publix, and I wasn't in the management scene as much. I had a little more time on my hands, and kind of indulged back into, away from everything else. I jumped into the Hot Wheels scene, kind of backed off out of all that. It just became like totes and totes of stuff everywhere, and nothing was on display. And it's like, man, this stuff has just been in totes for years. Like, it needs to go back out into the world. So I jumped on social media, and like I said, NASCAR was my big focus at the time. But I indulged back into cards and away from everything else, and NASCAR cards were a thing. Facebook groups all over the place, stuff like that. So I jumped into the groups, on social media, and started doing trades with people, because it's still today is a smaller niche. But the people that are into it are very, very into it. So they're like in all the groups. So you start going from group to group and talking to people, and it's the same, like 800 or 1,000 people in all the groups. So I started meeting people, and we started doing trades, and started just sending people stuff like, hey, this is your driver, like, here's a gift. Like, it just showed up in the mail one day. So we'd get stuff in the mail, and that really grasped me again. So breaks, what we call card breaks, just kind of was kicking off. And there was a couple people that I was watching that were doing NASCAR breaks. And I was like, I got a little time and a little extra money. I was like, I could probably do this. After I, I've reached out and met a bunch of people, right? So I posted my first break.
NASCAR?
Yeah, NASCAR car, just NASCAR cars. That was it. I posted the first break. The people that I had already met and stuff from the last couple of years kind of jumped in. You'd already built and established that trust with them. So the first break happened, and the second break happened, and then next thing you know, like I'm buying $5,000 worth of product to do breaks. Yeah, so it just kind of became a thing I did in my spare time. The kids go to bed at night. It's quiet. Go in the back room, my little station, and
right.
Go live, and it just became the side gig, so to speak. But then COVID hit. So COVID hit. Everybody was kind of sitting at home. Some had extra money. Some didn't. We didn't really have anything else to do. So everybody who was interested in the hobby just pile drive that money right back into it. So that's really what kind of kicked it off for me. And with me working at the grocery store, what was it that they called the people that had to go to work?
Essential?
Yes.
First line workers, essential.
Yes.
Essential employees, or
I
however
wasn't
they worded
an
that.
essential employee, so I stayed working, and then after work I'd get home and jump right into hosting breaks. So
all still just NASCAR?
Yep, just NASCAR at the time. It really took off to the point where the other half was like, how long are you going to do this? And I'm like, till it slows down. So I would go 2 or 3 days doing breaks, just hosting and doing and then ripping, and then I would take a day off just to pack it and ship it.
Oh, okay, so you would sell what you broke.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you sell spots or drivers or however,
Sure.
There's 100 ways you can do it. But I would do like 10, and then pack it and ship it, and then start all over again. And it eventually slowed down after a couple of years, but it opened up a lot of doors for me on the backside. Constantly needing supplies. I reached out to suppliers, established some relationships, and built some business with some people, and it kind of opened the door to maybe thinking about making a business out of it. It got to the point where they kept passing me up for management at Publix, and a location real close to my house opened up, and my wife actually happened to know the owner of the building, so we kind of had an in for that, and it just became a reality one day. It was like, oh, well, here's a location, and you already have this going for you, and you already have this that would help, and this would help, and this would help. If there was like 10 things that you needed to go into that business, I had like 8.
Okay.
And decided to take the plunge. So you go from working 40 hours and having a consistent paycheck to working 60, 90 hours and no money unless somebody walks in the door. So I got a lot of accolades from my friends at the time. Well, you got bigger cojones than I do to jump out on that limb and
to gamble on yourself.
Yes, correct.
So backing up here a little bit, possibly.
Okay.
So card breaks and getting the hits, is that where the Hitman come from? Your nickname, where'd this come from?
So that's where it landed for now.
That's where it lands for now.
That's where it lands for now.
Okay.
That is an age-old nickname.
Okay.
From about the turn of the century. We'll say turn of the century.
Turn of the century. At least you held on to the nickname that
right,
long.
Yeah.
I've had quite a few.
Well, we won't talk about the ones that can't be said. But, so back in my late teens and right after I first started working at Winn-Dixie, I was very big into the music scene. Music scene was big then. This was like right at everybody getting cell phones and stuff, so we had to go hang out. I worked with a group of folks at Winn-Dixie who were always going to the club and hanging out with Juvie, and Lil Wayne, and,
Sure.
and that type of stuff. So Me being big into music at the time kind of led to conversations with them, and we just went to parties and hung out and this and that, and I ended up with they actually nicknamed me Hitman. So
Okay.
just because of the music. Progressed from there. That was just always like, you know, people quit their jobs or move on or what have you. So I decided I've always kind of done side gigs, as we stated, like just started as my side gig,
Sure.
right? So really one of the when my older two were really small, one of the side gigs that I got into, paintball was kind of big, but it was kind of on its way out, and it was taking airsoft was kind of taken over in our local scene.
Okay.
And I saw an opportunity to reach out and, you know, find vendors that I could buy from, and so I started selling airsoft guns. It didn't last very long, but I started selling airsoft guns, and the nickname just kind of rolled over. You know, selling airsoft guns, Hitman. It just kind of worked, so I stuck with it. Fast forward a few years, my son started playing ball, t-ball, and I coached him, or either assistant coached almost every year, and that led me to the other dads, and we started playing softball. So as adults, at the time, Little League baseball was pretty much Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, and then if you did anything else, travel ball or whatever, Saturdays and Sundays. So. But the only night that we didn't do anything was church night, Wednesday night. And that just happened to be our local men's league for softball.
Sure.
So the first softball team we put together, funny story, the first softball team we put together, we called the team Team Child Support. So most of the dads at that point were on child support. So it was just
single dads.
Yes,
Okay.
yeah. So I wasn't single, but some of them were, or not single and still paying child support. Either
That is
way.
pretty funny.
Yes. So we had the whole, you know, sleeveless jerseys made, the whole thing. So a lot of them after the first 2 games got hurt and couldn't play the rest of the season. So yeah, typical guys think that they could do the things that they can't anymore. But most everybody else kind of petered out on that, and I just kept playing.
Sure.
It's been 15, 16 years, and I still play multiple nights. We don't call ourselves child support anymore. We progressed from that. But, yeah, so I still play softball, and the nickname Hitman, you know, you get a single, it's called a hit. So the nickname just kind of rolled into that. So it kind of stuck, you know. 3 things prior. At one point, I thought that I started a clothing line with the Hitman logo on it. Reached out and had some shorts made and some shirts. You didn't know about that probably, but yeah. So we did that. You know, you try to brand yourself.
Sure.
Try to get out there. But when I started doing the card breaks, after, you know, still playing softball, but when I started doing the card breaks, you know, as you call any great card that a hit. So as me being a host of card breaks, you know, if I pull the hits for you, that kind of makes me the Hitman.
Well,
so like it just kind of progressively rolled into everything that I did naturally.
yeah.
So I'm like, okay, that's me. That's me now.
All right, I took you off on that tangent.
Yeah.
So the Hitman is not card breaks. It's actually a quarter of a century old, turn of the century nickname that stuck with you.
Yep, just after the turn of the century.
Interesting to know that. Just after. Interesting to know that. Back to the store. Sorry. Back to the 8 out of 10 items that you had to have open this store.
Yes,
Sorry, that's where we were before I derailed you again.
So, had a long conversation with my wife, and I was like, hey, you know, this could be stressful. I was like, I'm never going to let it go long enough to put a financial bind on us. She's like super supportive. She's like, let's do it. So we did. The day that I signed the lease for the first location that I was at, public stock split 5-1. Like I was literally like had the pen in my hand, and I was like, oh, I got a message, and they're like, stock split 5-1, and I was like, oh man, am I doing the right thing? Signed the lease anyway. So went in, had the conversation with them. I was like, hey, you know, I haven't been promoted in the last 2 years of trying for whatever reason, and I was like, this is my 2-week notice. So that was the beginning stages of the shop. The shop was probably way bigger than what I needed, so I used a small space of it for my stuff, and then we boothed out the rest of it and used it as a antique / vendor mall for that. So I got to learn a new business while trying to establish my business. Yeah, so kind of threw myself under the bus right from the start.
Right.
But
How long did that run?
So I was about 1.5 years into the lease on that one, and then the way of the world said, hey, we're going up on taxes, we're going up in insurance, and the lady that owned the building was like, unfortunately, I got to go up on the rent on you. And I was like, okay, normal conversation. She was my neighbor. We talked all the time. Super friendly. I was thinking, $100 or something like that. It was pretty extensive.
Sure.
Just because of, not her fault, just the way things happen. So I immediately went back into my shell, and I was like, oh, I don't think that's financially right for us. So I was like, I got to do something else. So back to the drawing board that went. I told her we weren't going to sign the lease for the beginning of the 3rd year. And I know this hobby is very much probably the future of it is very much online, as anything is now, grocery shopping and Amazon, all that stuff. So I heavily considered just packing it up, taking it home. I already had an online presence anyways with eBay
Right.
and social media. So I was like, well, maybe I'll just start selling it from home, create a website or whatever needs to be done to make it work. In the process of determining what needed to be done, I walked into our local flea market, and they had an indoor booth available, and it was very, very small. It was 9.5 by 9.5. But I was like, ooh, this would kind of still give me an opportunity to be in the public. And after 2 years of having my own shop, people would follow me down there. So I jumped right into a booth there. Spent the first year moving around from booth to booth. So much, in fact, that my wife told me that if I moved booths again, she would probably take care of me. So I promised her, I assured her that if we moved again, the next move would be out back into her own standalone.
Okay.
So, been there for a couple of years now. It's been very good for the business as far as growth goes. On the back end of the business, it hasn't been super great. Just back end business stuff. But
Right.
great for business growth. So when I go back into a standalone, it probably will be very helpful. So, yeah.
Well, that's good. Is there anything not too personal? I don't want you to divulge, but so childhood collecting turned into a hobby that you enjoyed. NASCAR, from what I gather, NASCAR spun this out because you fell in love with the atmosphere.
Nice terminology.
What's that?
I'm spinning it out.
Oh, no pun intended.
Oh, okay.
That
Gotcha.
was totally by accident.
Gotcha.
And you fell in love with the atmosphere, and then you started doing breaks, and COVID kind of swung this door wide open.
Did.
If I'm following along.
Blew it open.
And then you did the brick and mortar, and just by bad luck of the U.S. economy and however it happened after COVID, I'm assuming that this is when people went back to work and things picked back up.
Yeah.
But you do have a store that people can visit on Friday, Saturday, Sunday?
Yep.
Or when is that?
Currently Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Thinking about going back up an hour on Fridays, but typically 10 to 2, probably going to 10 to 3. And then 9 to 3 tentatively on Saturdays and Sundays. The building closes at 4, so got to kind of cap it at 3, and I hang out till 4. So
Okay.
Yep. So just kind of like the NASCAR, how it grabbed me being in the community, and walking into Winn-Dixie and the community kind of grabbed you. It's great to be able to have this shop and be in the community.
Sure.
So I mean, I feel like I've made a name for myself as far as that goes. Hopefully all positive. But, I mean, there's naysayers. But, yeah, so it's great that, most people in the hobby are going to come in with a great spirit and a great attitude. You don't have to deal with a lot of the negativity that's out there right now. So, it's great to have conversations and hear some of the older guys' stories. And I know this person, I've met that person, and it's just a great atmosphere altogether. Like to be open to the public and be able to offer, discounts and give cards to the kids, and it's just great. It's great to be able to have that. So
if I were to walk into the booth or the shop, what is it called?
It is called Hitman's Cards and More.
Yep. Which is right down here. I know it's
Correct.
a little bit further from the camera, but it's right down on the bottom.
Yes.
What am I expecting when I walk in?
Hopefully, if all goes well and I'm not too crazy busy, I will greet you at the door. But we have a little bit of everything to offer. It's expanded quite a bit in the last couple of years, just location. So originally, like I said, my intent was sports cards. I've got 4 display cases. One has some better football singles in it. I have one designated just for basketball. I have 2 designated for baseball. I mean, obviously that's my home base. So, and then I have one for.
See what you did there?
Yes, I have one for vintage sports cards. Pokemon has kind of taken over the world, so of course I have a display case for Pokemon. We offer a little bit of sealed product, singles, of course, a full wall of supplies, binders, top loaders, penny sleeves, one touches, anything that you may need, empty storage boxes, have all that. I just picked up some Hot Wheels, so if you're a treasure hunt collector, I've got a few of those. Pokemon plush, metal size. I mean, I've got championship rings. There's quite a bit to look at.
Real ones? Replicas?
I wish they were real.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, hey.
Yeah, replica championship rings.
So, I think football has some, what are they? Uptowns, downtowns, whatever they are. You have some of those?
Yep.
Okay. Wow. Okay.
Currently have a few in stock.
Okay.
They come and they go, just like
Sure.
like everything else. They're pretty popular right now, so they trickle in, they trickle out.
What are the ones? What are baseball dingers or something like that? And I don't know. I'm just guessing.
The big cards for baseball.
Sure.
Yeah, baseball's a little bit different.
They put all kind of inserts in nowadays. But you have some there that people should check out. I think you got some Griffey rookie cards in there.
Yeah, there's
yeah.
Griffey rookie. I offer 50-cent cards, dollar cards, all the way up to the very top. So I think right now
everybody can see this. It's Bond's autograph up front. But do you have a Bond rookie cards and all that? Okay,
absolutely. No shortage of the 80s stuff. There's right now I've got a graded Mickey Mantle in there. It's got like a $700 price sticker in there. So so 50 cents all the way on up. I got a little bit for everybody, hopefully.
So that's interesting. And I hear tale because of I hear tales. You might be doing something this month that you've never done before.
You heard that? Okay.
No, I know that.
Yes.
I know that.
Yeah, so
what would that be?
So a couple of years ago, I teamed up with a couple of other local. One was a vendor at my shop at the time, but we teamed up and we hosted a trade day down at Wahoo Stadium. We actually had to go through the Wahoo Stadium and get. Everybody has carrying cases. They carry their cards around because Zion cases is typically what they're called. So we had to get pre-approval to allow us as a group to bring our cases in.
Right, security reasons.
Yes.
Yeah.
We rented out a party center and we hosted a trade day down at the stadium, which was really kind of the first and probably only time that's happened. So that was fun. If you happen to peruse Facebook and go to my store Facebook page, the top picture there is the group photo. So that was from that. But shows have been in our area been pretty scarce. but they are popping up a lot more recently as of late. And it always was kind of in the back of my mind. Unfortunately, like to rent a pretty good sized space here, it's pretty expensive. So the thought process was to host a show, not for me per se, but for the community. So we teamed up, and we actually have a show here on May 23rd. It's the Saturday of Memorial Weekend. Right in the middle of town, right off of Davis Highway. So it's convenient for everybody. We have it's already been posted. Tables are full. We got 37 plus vendors in there, 50 plus tables. Got half sports card vendors and half TCG vendors, trading card game vendors.
So that's like your Pokemon or Magic.
Magic.
Okay.
Yep.
But the other half is sports.
Yes.
Okay.
So
it's pretty divided.
Yes, I made it 100% divided because there's a lot of complaints from a lot of other shows that it's like 90-10, and it's just not what people want to see.
90-10 is
so like
more Pokemon and Pokemon,
because
and not sports.
Yes, because it Pokemon is the craze right now. So
sure.
The sports people, you hear a lot of fussing about, well, there's not enough of what I want to see there. so when this came to fruition and I set up the tables, I made sure that I split it. It's almost 50-50. Okay. So it's about 55-45, but just kind of the way of things. But
all right, I'm gonna if you don't mind, I'm gonna take this. This is a flyer, and I'm just gonna a little printout. I'm gonna read over this real quick. It's presented. This is Emerald Coast Card Slam. It's presented by Hitman Cards. It's at the Rest and Relax Inn at 7200 Plantation Road in Pensacola, Florida. May 23rd, this year, 2026, at 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. All right, and I'm going to show this. I'm going to try to lean over just as close as I can get it. I'm going to leave it up here for just a little bit. You can pause the video. You can look at it. Hopefully you can see, so you can get that information. Hey, so he's already told you that half sports, half whatever that is, TCG.
TCGs, yeah.
So 50 tables, over 30, how many?
37, I think, was like the last account. So that's a lot for 50 tables.
That's a lot of vendors, yeah. That's good. That's spread out, which you have more option of what's there.
Yes.
So
and I wanted to add that there is only one local shop that is setting up there, semi-local. They're not in town, but the Emporium out in in Tiger Point.
I like the Emporium. I've talked about them before here.
Yep. So they will be there with two tables. This is all local vendors. So again, grasping that community, like this is a perfect way. Free entry, come in. Yeah. You help other local vendors. I'm not setting up a table myself. Most people that host shows typically do. Some take more space than they probably should, but that's not what's happening here. That's not, I'm just going to walk around and enjoy the atmosphere and shake babies and kiss hands. Yeah. That's my goal.
And be security.
Yes, that too.
So you're local, you're hosting, you got more local with local, I'm going to say it local.
Semi-local, yeah.
With the Emporium, which is Mike, Bobo, Red, and Mike.
Yes.
Down there.
Yep.
So they'll have some stuff up there, which, well, that's great. I hope you have a wonderful turnout. I know I'll be there. I'm going to spend probably all day there just because behind me on this wall here, I've added a few different pieces. I got a Tom Glavine mini bat back there, and I got a Dale Murphy litho back there now.
Also, if you get to see this in time, it was kind of a late edition, but we do have a company called Golden Grading coming. They are out of Baton Rouge, Louisiana. They started about 2020, so it's a newer grading company. They are doing great things for themselves. I have been a customer of theirs since almost day one. I've been around long enough that I have the owner on speed dial.
I'm going to slide by you.
In case I need anything. But they have committed to coming and taking submissions there at the show. Right now they are at $5 each card. There is no upcharge for anything. Well, there is if it's a thicker card because they have to have a different case. But as far as just a single submission, they don't care about the value of the card like a lot of other companies. The owner will actually be there, so you can shake hands and talk to him, ask all the questions you need to. But they have also committed to giving away 100 free slabs. So the first 100 people that swing around to their table will get a free slab from them.
So the reason I walked away, which is very rude, and I do apologize, I have a golden graded card here. Alex Bregman. That's the back of it. It comes slabbed.
Yep.
Comes good to go. It is a 10. Just wanted to show you this product.
Yeah.
Just what he's talking about, because I have something to show there. It's
a very nice case. They anything that gets a 10 gets their gold label. Anything 1 through 9 gets a silver label, so there is a little bit of a differentiality in between, the high grades versus everything else. Like I said, they're going to be there taking submissions. If that's something you're interested in doing, they will be there for that.
So, since he's a card collector, I have some random packs laying around. I have a 91 Bowman baseball, and I have a 92 Score. Which one do you want? 91's got gum. I feel it.
Are you going to eat the gum?
No.
You want me to eat the gum?
If you open it, you eat it. Do you want the 91 or do you want the 92?
I'm not taking the gum.
All right.
I'm not taking the gum.
We're going to open them and just kind of do it right here and just show you what we get. That way you can just kind of be part of this.
Look at
I'm
that.
going to open it up here.
Dale Murphy right on the back. However,
it
is not a Braves card. It is
a Phillies
card.
Okay, this one's got gum on it.
To make way for Chipper.
Just so you know. Oh, is he in there?
No, he got traded to make room for.
There's the gum.
Actually, that doesn't look too terrible.
No,
I've seen a lot worse.
Yeah. So I'm gonna go ahead and flip these. Yep. All right. Jeff King, Hugh Walker, Greg Vaughn.
Hugh Walker?
Yep.
Go back to that.
Here. Right there.
Second one. Got a funny story about that.
Mark Langston, Dante Bichette. There we go.
Okay. Bo Bichette's dad. For those
Ozzie Smith.
The Wizard.
You got Lee Smith. Domingo Mata. Oh, let me turn them. Then we got Cecil Fielder. Here you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
Who knew?
Chuck Krim.
Old Cecil.
Dave Owen. And ended off with
Princess
Gary Redis.
Yeah. Lee Smith actually was like an all-time save leader too.
Okay.
Yeah. So I think he's in the Hall of Fame for that. So our 92 Score, we've got Ventura. Everybody knows Ventura if you're a Nolan Ryan fan.
Only person in baseball history to get 7 hits off Nolan Ryan.
Take 7 hits off of Nolan Ryan, correct. Yep. Got Tom Gordon. We got Hal Morris. Baerga. Griffey.
Oh, there you go. There's you. Hey.
Back in the day, we called this the Big Head Griffey.
Yeah.
Just because, stature. But Big Head Griffey is just an all-star. Followed up by Tom Henke. Otis Nixon, favorite Brave, one of the faves, anyways. Tommy Green, Ellis Burks, Steve Howie, Sam Horn, Francisco Olivares.
Okay,
they're trying me today. Todd Stottlemyre, Bill Duran, Carlton Fisk, all-time catcher.
I'll take that one.
And then we ended up with Dale Murphy on that.
I'll take that one too.
Okay, yep, you can have it.
All right, so I traded off some cards I opened for him for his Mount Rushmore there, and he said he had a funny story. You want to hit that story on?
So Hugh Walker, this is actually his rookie card.
It's in good shape.
Yeah. I wish I had this a couple months ago. So it's probably been 2 or 3 months. This is, what did we say, this was 91?
Yes.
So fast forward.
91 Bowman.
Fast forward a few years. A lady walked into the shop one day. And I was like, I met her at the door and I was like, hey, how you doing? She's like, oh, I'm doing well. We're looking for an old baseball box. And I'm like, okay. She's like, yeah, I don't really remember the name of it, but my husband's on it. And I'm like, so I was like, okay. And I started flashing back from my childhood of all the boxes that I opened back in forever. So she's like, I don't really remember the brand or what have you, but it just had 3 cards on the front. And I was like, well, was it Major League or Minor League? Or she's like, it was Minor League. And right away, like I flashed straight back to it because I opened probably 10 boxes of those. There's like 90 or 91 line drive.
Okay.
It was a blue box, had 3 cards on it. I think Klesko was on it. And
Ryan.
Hugh Walker was on it. So I found it on eBay, and I said, "Is this the one you're looking for?" She's like, "Yeah." She's like, "That's my husband." And I'm like, "Okay." Sure enough, like 5 seconds later, he comes around the corner and walks in the door, and she's like, "This is my husband." I'm like, "You're Hugh?" And so we shook hands and talked a little bit. It was just cool that former player walks into the shop, and then
Here in Pensacola?
Yeah, here in Pensacola.
Is this where they live?
No, they were touristing. So yeah, since I wish I had a couple months ago, I would have handed it to them.
Well, I will say you have been up in the area here. I've met and I have just speaking of people in the area.
Yeah.
I would love to interview Travis Fryman.
Fryman.
I would love to interview Roy Jones Jr.
Yeah.
But I do have, just for everybody out there,
Yeah.
I have met and I've talked to, and I have a Butterbean glove over there. And
I met Butterbean at a show. He was doing a signing. He was doing autographs, and I had the tables next to him.
Oh,
Yeah. Interesting
fellow.
Yes.
And I have met and I've talked to, and I have multiple signings for other sports figures. But the 2 local guys, Travis Fireman and Roy Jones Jr., if anybody can assist in that, I would love to do it. Now, at the end of every show, I do talk about somebody local. And I'm going to, let me explain this. So, me being from Georgia, I was able to find this, and I found this very good, a very good, decent product. This is a Carter's Bonded Warehouse. Basically, it's a cotton receipt, and it's from Jimmy Carter's warehouse, and that's his signature here at the bottom, and somebody just stored their cotton there. But I found that, being from Georgia, it's our only ticket at the moment to the presidency, so it is what it is.
Gotcha.
But I want to go ahead and promote this. And Mystic Shelfie Works. And what this is 3D printing. And the reason I want to promote is they're local, and they have locations, and they're at the flea market with you. But they're also at Flip Flops on Palafox. They're at Amanda Ann's. They're at Franklin Antiques, and
A lot of vendor malls.
Yeah. And they do the 3D printers, and they have a whole lot of items. But the reason I want to promote them is I contacted them, and they did a wonderful deal on for me for throwables in a parade for kids, and they threw out these little toothless characters and these little multicolored chameleons. But you can visit them at those locations. Or you can give them a call, and I'll go ahead and tell you Will's number is 850-549-7678. Again, any 3D printing needs, these, I'll tell you, they are very, very nice, very helpful. No monetary value to me. Just do it.
I've seen a lot of their work. They do smalls all the way up to huge busts of the Enterprise. And
have you seen that
the
Deadpool with the
Batmobile,
guns
the
that they
Deadpool?
have?
Yep.
I mean, he's every bit of like this. So
It's huge. So nothing too small and nothing too big.
Well, so everybody, make sure you get down to that Emerald Coast Card Slam. We went over it again. It's on May 23rd. It's a Saturday. Don't worry about it. It's inside. They're going to accommodate you. It's the Rest and Relax Inn in Pensacola, off of that Davis Highway.
Davis Highway. Yep.
Davis Highway, right there behind the J.C. Penney, just past Chuck E. Cheese, Plantation, Plantation Road, and it was so wonderful having A.A. Ron.
A.A. Ron. It's great to be here.
Swauger here. I'll tell you, the Hitman, a.k.a. the Hitman.
Now you know.
Half a century old nickname. Thanks for joining us for this episode of Talk the Talk JR. Now that me and Aaron have talked the talk, we challenge you to go out and walk the walk. Hey, I'll see you next time. Thanks.